First half Big Ten championship, Wisconsin led 21-7. Second half, completely different story. KJ Hill passes David Boston, most receptions in school history. Early fourth, Fields rolls out. Justin Fields, Hill, while you're up. Hill up again. Buckeyes up 31-21. They outscore Wisconsin 27-0 in the second half to win it 34-21. Jonathan Taylor had the $135 on 13 carries in the first half. Second half, 7 carries, 13 yards. Justin Fields goes 19 for 31, 299, and the 3 touchdowns. As Ohio State had itself a scare, and then in the second half became Ohio State again. And they win the Big Ten championship 34-21. Now the only question remains, does the struggle knock them to number 2? And LSU, with their dominant win over Georgia in the SEC championship game, up to number 1. So let's ask that first to Barton Simmons, who rejoins us, the co-host of the Cover 3 podcast and everything else on CBSSports.com and 24/7 Sports, our director of scouting. Barton, does that happen now?
Yeah, I think that's a realistic scenario. In fact, as the committee announcement approaches, I'm leaning towards LSU landing in that number 1 spot. And I think when you look at how highly the committee regarded Georgia, the dominant fashion in which LSU handled business, and look, Ohio State won, and Ohio State looked impressive, but LSU looked like the number 1 team in the country. And I think that the committee is going to have some recency bias here. You know, they talk about how they re-rack it every week, and that doesn't mean that they're ranking off the previous week, but they're ranking off the complete picture compiled up to that previous week. And I think it matters that LSU is striding through the finish line here and seems to be getting better later in the year. And so because of that, and because this is ultimately really splitting hairs, I think the committee might lean LSU in this one, given the wins on the resume and given the way it finished here this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think LSU, they had the more convincing win, never getting down at any point in the ball game today against Georgia, played against a higher-ranked team. And like you said, Barton, the committee really valued Georgia extremely high, already being in the top 4, even with a loss. But LSU just dominated from start to finish on every level, offensively, defensively, and then quarterback play. Joe Burrow was just outstanding, and defensively, they just neutralized and just took away the running game for Georgia, and Jake Fromm didn't have any success as well. Ohio State needed to come from behind, and granted, they won easily, but they started extremely slow against a 2-loss team, a team they've already beaten, oh, by the way, and also Illinois had a big win against Wisconsin. So looking at how both teams played their championship ball game, they both won, but one team in LSU, they did so with style points.
Barton, if you're an opponent now of Ohio State, are you taking more from the second half or the first half?
I think I'm taking more from the second half, that this is still a really good team. Because if you look at Ohio State, I mean, it takes more than 30 minutes to beat it. That you really have to play a full 60 minutes, and that's a real challenge because of all the different ways Ohio State will stress you. In that first half, you know, they really bottled up Justin Fields. And I don't think Ohio State was really anxious to see Justin Fields run around a lot on a bum knee. But as the game progressed, you saw Ohio State start to find some more running lanes. You saw the wide receivers start to get loose a little bit. And you saw Ohio State's defense make some adjustments. And it really is a series-by-series grind playing that team. And so I think what we saw is just Ohio State squeeze the life out of Wisconsin over the course of 4 quarters. I'm not even really concerned what we saw in the first half, because ultimately this is still an Ohio State team with all the strengths we thought it had coming in the framework of the conversation about LSU or Ohio State as number 1. Again, that's 2 great options because Ohio State still looked to me like a team that could win a national championship today, having played not his best half, but still coming out and winning fairly decisively in the end.
I want to make sure we get to Wisconsin in a moment, and should they be in the Rose Bowl. But does it concern you? Justin Fields fumbled again inside the 10. Does his ball security, does that trouble you?
Sure, yeah, but I also think that I'm going to give him a bit of a pass because he's a little hobbled and because now he's going to have about 3 weeks to get healed up. And I think when he gets a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more mobile, I think that really helps with ball security and just in terms of keeping your focus and staying on point in that realm. And so, yes, it's something to watch. But ultimately, this is a guy, when you look over the course of 12, 13 game season, has been outstanding taking care of the football. He's had a couple of games where he's gotten a little loose with the fumbles, but for the most part, this has been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country and one of the best at taking care of the football despite making big plays.
All right, so Wisconsin now. A 3-loss team, they deserve to be in the Rose Bowl?
I don't know that I'm there. I mean, I still think that Penn State, given what it has done this season, the way it has won, the teams it has lost to. I mean, Wisconsin still has that Illinois loss on his resume. Penn State, I think, is much more impressive in terms of the way it's handled this business, again, consistently over the course of the season. So, look, I think Wisconsin made a strong statement in terms by playing Ohio State close over the course of 4 quarters. And that said, I still would lean Penn State in that spot.
As soon as you said, I think Penn State, I got that yeah in my ear from our producer, Matt Mayer, because every time you say something good about Penn State, we all get a little bit something extra in our pockets. Spartan, thank you very much. And that's a little extra cash in the pocket when you say good things about Penn State. Brian McFadden, I'm Noah Kosloff. We'll be back more at the top.